Very good morning, Dr. Baru, distinguished panel on the dais, and leaders of the banking industry. It is indeed an honor for BCG to be a partner for the banking industry is seeking to put out call for action every year, and we will try to live up to the expectations this year as well. Let me start with a quiz, actually, just to make sure that we are all on the same page when it comes to facts, because the conference theme is data, but we all need to talk about data. So, of course, there has been a lot of celebration in our country, rightly so, that our ranking in ease of doing business has improved from 130 to 100. The World Bank has recognized the efforts that our country has been making. But in the same report, there was another dimension on which India moved from 44 to 29. So, just raise your hands, how many of you noticed it and you know which area it is, where India has been rated 44 and it has moved from 44 to 29 in last year? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3. About 10 people. There are about 10 people out of the about 100 people in this room, maybe 200 people in this room, who have noticed that in the same ranking, India does really, really well on some dimensions, under 30 in the world. And what dimension is it? It is on getting credit, ladies and gentlemen. India is just so far ahead than where we think it is. And I really would like the people here to give a round of applause, thank you Mrs. Nair, for the Indian banking industry, which has, we believe quite strongly in BCG that Indian banking industry is a pride of the nation. Indian banking industry has achieved what many other countries will find very, very difficult to achieve. Yes, there is a lot of discomfort around a lot of NPAs in the commercial sector, but we have a system. We have a system backed by technology. We have a system backed by data that allows for very granular level of credit dispensation in the country, and the world is noticing it. And I think we should recognize the Herculean task that Indian bankers have gone out and done over the last 2-3 years, opening millions of accounts. It is unfathomable in other parts of the world. You know, the level of small ticket lending that is happening in our country is incomparable. And as I talk to my counterparts in other parts of the world, they're surprised by what is possible in this country of more than 1 billion people. That somebody can be sitting in their drawing room, 2 o'clock in the morning, and opening an account without paper. It doesn't happen in advanced economies like Singapore. It definitely doesn't happen in the US. So what is underlying all of this? I think we have a silent revolution has been taking place as we have been so distracted with what's happening on the corporate side. Our bureaus in the same report have been rated almost the best in the world. They were rated 7 out of 8, when OECD countries, credit information bureaus are rated 6.5 or 6.6. That's because of the phenomenal legislation that has been put in place over the last several years. And from 2012 to 2017, the percentage of adult population which is covered by the Bureau has gone up 24% per annum to 43.5%. Very soon it will be touching close to what OECD countries are, about 67%. That means most of the people in this country have a credit history, and then they become eligible for getting loans from the formal system. Another silent revolution that is taking place, not fully recognized, is that the ticket size, the viable ticket size across different products have come down dramatically. So small ticket lending, MFI loans, it used to take 20 rupees to disburse a loan. Now it takes 5 rupees because of the use of Aadhaar-given payment system. For new starting entities, it used to be about 60,000 rupees break-even balance for a savings account. But now, because everything is eKYC, it is 10,000 rupees. So I'm not talking about large banks, I'm talking about small startup banks. For wealth management, it was well known that only if you have 2 lakh rupees, then only a service provider could provide service to you in a viable manner. It has dropped down to 20,000 rupees. even mass market customers who want to go beyond deposits to investments can now actually be served profitably through a digital channel. This is another major revolution that has taken place silently, as we have all been very distracted about and unhappy about what's happening on the corporate side of, NPAs, and shall I say that most of it beyond the control of the bankers, driven very heavily by the structural issues in the economy. So, while there may be a lot of gloom around, certain situations, we want to argue that actually we are in a very happy spot. We actually have a lot of things going for us. The possibilities that we see with this explosion in data, the possibilities that we see with the digital platform that we have created in our country are phenomenal. And they can really lay the ground for a very new type of banking that our country will see. And this new type of banking will be inclusive because it is fundamentally premised on making small ticket business viable and profitable. And something that has been talked about for a very long time is actually now becoming a reality. The question is whether banks will do it, or banks will see the space for non-banks to do it, and some of those questions need to be debated today in this conference. What we have done then is basically looked at, okay, so in this type of situation, how should we look at how the next 4 or 5 years of banking industry are going to look? What are the revenue pools going to look like? And where will the growth come from? Where are the opportunities? And there are a few areas which really merit the attention of the industry. One is the savings deposits. The savings deposit obviously grew phenomenally last year because of demonetization. Our prediction is that as a part of the revenue pool, saving deposits are actually going to increase from about 48% of the deposit pool to even larger, about 56% of the deposit pool, driven by the fact that one thing that demonetization has definitely done is really created a step jump in adoption of digital platforms by customers. And whenever retail customers start using digital, their balances actually go up. And so we are betting on it that over the next 5 years, we'll actually see continued growth of savings deposit as more and more customers are starting to use digital channels. And our benchmarking shows that in public sector banks, there has been a 100% jump in the percentage of customers in savings deposit who use, debit card at point of sale at the merchant establishment. And digital transactions have grown at 40%, then 60%, and last year at 90% and ever increasing, exponential growth. On the other hand, we have distribution income, which we believe is going to be a phenomenal part of banks' revenue pool. But this distribution income is for insurance and mutual fund, where banks do not have the lion's share now. But the banks who create digitally enabled mechanisms to be able to assess the mass market, people who want to spend 10,000, 20,000 rupees completely cost efficiently, they will gain the share here, and there is a phenomenal revenue to be made in this segment, because we see a very secular shift in the retail individuals wanting to invest their money beyond deposits. The second part that we all have heard a lot about, because every single entity in the industry over the last 3 years has been talking about retail, and we project that retail as a revenue pool will go from about 58% of the total advances pool to about 35%, so it will continue to grow. But we want to highlight a few very interesting things that have happened in the meanwhile in the retail industry, which is really worth a lot of attention. One thing is this: while most of the banks have thought about hanging their hats on retail as something that will let them grow even in this climate, the attack has been severe. As you can see on this chart, the non-bank finance companies' share in number of accounts opened just between calendar year 14 to calendar year 17 has gone from 21 to 44%. And when we look at the same chart for young customers used to be about 30%. The customers less than 35 years of age were about 30% of the total accounts opened. Today they have become, just in last 4 years, 40% of the account opened. And if we look at in those customers, this share is not 44, it is 50%. So there is an attack. You can call them fintech, you can call them new generation technology-enabled NBFCs. Everybody is noticing the huge potential here, and so attack is quite severe. And as the state-owned banking industry has been sort of, a little bit under pressure because of the bad debt situation, you can see that, the attackers are sitting, quite on the side looking for opportunity. The other major thing that has happened is, and this is really real in our economy, and I would like to call out the support provided by TransUnion Civil, our knowledge partner for credit insights, for providing this data. This data is, as accurate as it gets. It's not about what the bank or the NBFC or anybody feels their turnaround time is. This is the time gap between the time you ping the database of CIBIL and the time dispersal actually takes place. So it is as authentic as it gets. And you can see the turnaround time for giving loans for different types of loans, less than 10 lakhs to over 50 crores, how different sort of players stack up. The end-to-end digitization of the credit process is here, and customers are already starting to avail it. And it is something that not only reduces turnaround time, but we would argue it also improves the quality of credit, because the same data from CIBIL also shows that the loans which are given in less time actually also have less NPA. It is quite, with data you can actually prove it. So it's time to challenge some of the paradigms. Time to challenge the paradigm whether, we can, how much time do you take to give a loan, how much judgment do you apply, or do you take quick decisions based on data? I mean, a lot of traditional thinking around banking, very rightly so, has been around, trust in the judgment of the bankers. Yes, that is true. But this time has come to complement it with data, and data in a very quick manner, so that that we can really live up to this new paradigm that is coming in. Another very sobering thing that is happening in retail is also worth noticing. And this chart shows, as a percentage of the total new accounts opened during the year, what percentage were new to credit customers. And you can see it's a secular decline from 34% to 20% over the last 5 years. It's continuously declining. And that is because our industry is giving more loans to people who are already having a loan. So the percentage of customers who already have a 2 loan outstanding get a 3rd loan is going up. And that basically shows that, we do not have space in the retail lending to actually accelerate it. It is actually already going at a pace at which it can be sustained. Bottom line is, we cannot hang our hats entirely on retail lending, and we have to be careful and cautious. And a large segment of banking industry has to really invest in collections apparatus in a manner that, in case things were to go a little bit out of control, they can control it. And already there are early signs. So this chart is a delinquency rate in retail lending, retail and agricultural lending. For the industry, you see the delinquency rates are going from 2.6, 2.8, 2.9, so it's gradually inching up. And hence there's a word of caution around, too much of attention to retail without necessarily necessary backup in form of collection apparatus can be different. And one last very important point around retail is, this is a very, very interesting chart. This chart shows what's the profile of people who have got a loan from our Indian banking and NBFC industry over the last 6 years. What's their profile in terms of their CIBIL score? And CIBIL rates people who get more than 750 as super prime customers. And you will notice that for the last 6 years, this graph has stayed more or less the same. So banking industry, our lending industry gives loans predominantly to people who are rated super prime already. And the people who are below that do not get it. And our hypothesis is that's because our industry has not managed to move to a more differentiated interest rate regime, where people who have got slightly lesser credit profile, they can get loans at a slightly higher rate. And since they can't get a loan at a higher rate, the industry sticks to people who are, super prime, so to speak. And I think that doesn't help the cause for inclusion, that we are not able to really charge economically viable interest rates and move to a much broader spectrum of people for borrowing. So that is another call for action for the industry as a whole, and we believe it's not one bank which can do it, it's a collective action problem, but it really merits the attention of the bankers in these times when profitability is at quite a premium. Last point is about corporate. A lot has been said about it. We all know that NPAs are very high. On the commercial sector, we've got about 8 lakh crores of bad debts that have been declared, and there is much more probably that sort of will surface over a period of time as things unfold. So we are projecting that the revenue pool of corporate is going to decline. But there is a silver lining there, which is that we have about 5 crore MSMEs which are registered as per the Ministry of MSME. We have about 4 crores of current accounts in our banking system. But we have only 45 lakhs of unique borrower accounts as far as MSMEs are concerned. And we look at the next few years with GST, which will lead to digitization of value chains, with huge focus on digital payments at point of sale, which means a lot of electronic data on transactions is available, and the industry focusing on credit analytics using surrogate data is maturing quite rapidly. So all of these 3 trends allow us to make a prediction that as we look at next 5 years, the MSME segment will be a much larger portion, and the growth that we may miss in other segments will be provided here, provided of course we invest in the right technology and capabilities to build this business forward. So the imperatives for banks are quite clear, and during the course of these 2 days, and in the upcoming CEO panel, we are going to discuss the need for treating data in a very strategic manner. Most banks have, today many banks have two heads of HR, one for development, one for management. But the time has come to also think about whether the bank should have one head of technology and one head of data. Data is just so strategic and so valuable. So the whole paradigm of how to do corporate banking has to change. The traditional way of doing corporate banking is not viable. The corporate banking has become much more sector specific, much more industrialized value chain solutions. It has to be much more data-based and much more flow business and much more transaction heavy. The credit models have to move from predominance of judgment to predominance of data analytics. The end-to-end digitization of processes, including usage of artificial intelligence and machine learning, is actually a given. It is something that's a base expectation. It cannot be, delayed any further. Collections capability and infrastructure has to be improved, given the, state of retail lending and how fast it's growing. I talked about scientific pricing. I think it's important that pricing has to be much more scientific. Many bankers believe that if they are going to increase the price, volumes will come down. We have found across the world that that's a myth. You can always find more intelligent ways of pricing so that, the customer who's not asking for a discount is not necessarily given one. And also, we can move to a much more differentiated risk-based pricing regime. The mass market investment advisory model, which has to rely hugely on technology so that people with 10,000, 5,000 rupees savings can invest beyond deposits into mutual funds seamlessly and get a good view and get some advice, is something that is sorely missing. Fintechs are going to attack it if the banks don't do something about it. And finally, and most critically, banks can't do all of this on their own. They need to do partnerships. And our mind has to really open about how we do partnerships with different types of people, either to access data or to access distribution. Most of the NBFC credit in this country is not being driven by their branches. It is being driven by outlets of their partners. Data can lead to as much as 3 lakh crores of additional profit to the bottom line of banks in the next 5 years. And that, in our view, is sorely needed, whether it is through differentiated pricing or operating cost optimization or lower credit and collections cost or just higher product per customer, which in fact leads to low cost income ratio for banks. So this is a big opportunity. But I would like to take this opportunity to really highlight a few points for the attention of the regulator and the policy makers, because we realize that some of these things we talk about, or many times bankers are asked to do, are not in their hands. So this chart is basically talking about how this 43.5% ratio that I talked about, which is the percentage of coverage of adult population of the country by bureau. That is average for India. But if you disaggregate it by different states, you will see the wide variation. Kerala and Tamil Nadu are almost at the level of OECD countries. UP and Bihar are like 9%, sub 10% level. And they are sub 10% level not because bankers don't want to lend there, because the state of economic development, the job creation is such that it is not possible beyond a point. There's a frontier for economic development which has to be broken. And it is important for bankers to really stand up for all the hard work and all the dedication and commitment with which they have built this industry we are so proud of, to argue for the policymakers to do their bit when it comes to the right economic policies to really unlock the potential in some of these geographies. Look at the same picture on the deposit side. That one was on the coverage of credit bureau. This picture shows digital adoption, percentage of savings account customers who are using debit card at point of sale. How does it vary in different states? And you can see the same profile, but it is huge difference between some of the states in the south and some of the states in the north. And so yes, we can set targets for rolling out point of sale devices, but it will not make a big difference unless this policy intervention is appropriate. So I have a few requests for the policy, a few recommendations for policymakers. Of course, regional disparity point we talked about. Now, if the industry is going to bet big on data, we need to make sure that other surrogate data in the form of utility payments, tax payments, are available to the industry with the consent of the borrower, of course, to be able to do right credit analytics. Right? And that is really important, that we really put our entire collective bargaining power to use to really insist on our policy apparatus that there is a huge data that is available out there which is not accessible to banking sector or to the bureau sector. Similarly, the bond market has become a very big provider of credit, so their data has to be available to the bureaus, and they can also use the data from the bureaus. We have got a very fantastic concept of consent architecture that's a part of India stack. So we need to really move forward a little bit faster so that it becomes possible for a borrower to electronically give his or her consent so that his data, his account transaction data can be electronically transferred to a fintech or to another lender who is willing to give him or her a loan based on transaction account analysis of his transactions. Now that requires, a Reserve Bank to really create a slightly broader perspective on the NBFC aggregator model that has been brought out, and to really expedite the licensing of this model, and also, clarify the consent architecture that will be operational in the country, because that will democratize data access, and that can be so powerful for further recall lending. Finally, very importantly, our bankers are supposed to be also forensic experts. They are also supposed to be, to detect the crime. They are held accountable for anything that goes wrong in what they do. I think, once again, with so much of commitment that the banking industry has shown over the last 7 years to really move the needle forward, and the world has recognized it, I think it has got the right to ask that other supporting industry, like the accounting industry, really are also held accountable, so that the quality of books are reliable, and that bankers are not accountable for taking decisions based on that. So I think that is really important. And then finally, of course, we are talking a lot about data. I think it's a very right time to also put in place a very solid framework regarding data privacy and what are the rights of customers in terms of how their data can be transferred, and create some level of literacy around it, so that as the industry goes on overdrive, hopefully it will, to use the data to further its profitability, it is, the rules of the game are very clearly laid out so that we do not cross the boundaries. With these points, thank you.